What's the most optimal way of reducing body fat and reversing metabolic disease such as fatty liver, insulin resistance, prediabetes, polycystic ovaries, hypertension, sleep apnea, etc. I'm Dr. Rawat, a physician with decades of experience helping clients and also founder of healthgroupcoaching.com, where I've helped numerous clients reverse metabolic disease. Of course, in today's video, I'll be giving you my own personal opinion based upon my study and based upon my experience. I'm not saying I'm a world-renowned expert in this field, just a physician who's helped numerous clients and wants to help you as well. So I'll be explaining what I believe to be the most optimal way of losing weight and at the same time reversing disease. Now, how is losing weight in the context of reversal of disease different to losing weight otherwise? Now, losing weight otherwise, all you need to do is achieve a calorific deficit. You could be on any kind of diet plan. You could do a watermelon diet, cabbage diet, prolonged fasting. You could do a lot of things. And as long as you're in a calorific deficit, you would lose weight. The difference here is that when we're trying to reverse metabolic disease, we're trying to do something which is sustainable long term, first of all. All of those kinds of approaches will give you some weight loss, but you will gain the weight back because ultimately it's a dynamic process. You reduce calories, weight comes down, calories go back to where they were before, weight comes back up. And that's why 95% of these kinds of approaches fail in the long term. Secondly, as I coach in my program, we not only want to reduce fat mass in order to reverse metabolic disease, we also want to increase muscle mass, improve the sensitivity of insulin, improve the diversity of the gut microbiome, reduce chronic systemic inflammation. There are quite a few things we need to do in tandem when we're trying to reverse metabolic disease along with weight loss, which is why it's a bit more complicated. And on my coaching program, I have 8 classes where I coach on these things, 1 hour each on Zoom, usually 8 p.m. Eastern time. And the most common feedback I probably get is that it's too complicated. And unfortunately, reversal of metabolic disease is complicated. If it was simply about calorie restriction, then it wouldn't be nearly as complicated as it is. But if you're really trying to do it properly, then it is complicated. But in today's video, what I'm trying to do is try to simplify it as much as I possibly can. So what is the most optimal way of losing body fat in the context of reversal of metabolic disease? I'll try to explain it down to you as simply as I can. The first thing I do with my clients is set up tracking. As the saying goes, whatever gets measured gets done. So the first thing you do is you start measuring, because that really opens your eyes and makes you aware of what you're doing. How many calories are you ingesting? How much exercise are you doing? How many steps are you walking per day? What's your eating window and what's your fasting window? How much good quality sleep are you getting? The first step is to set up tracking. So I ask my clients to download the Chronometer app. I ask them to make sure they have a fat mass biometric impedance measuring scale. It's only about $40 from Amazon. I have the links on my Tracking on the Program blog. I ask them to make sure they have a food weighing scale. It's really important because you can estimate calories within food using either weight or volume, and it's a whole lot more accurate using weight. So using weight requires a food weighing scale. So I ask them to get that from Amazon as well. I ask them to step on the scales every day. Understand that the daily weight fluctuation is mostly water weight and other kinds of factors. Have you been to the bathroom or not? But it is important to weigh yourself every day because it can be motivating. And week on week, you should start seeing some improvements provided you are doing what's been asked of you on the program. So first, get yourself a fat mass measuring bioimpedance scale. Get yourself a food weighing scale. Download the Chronometer app. Hopefully you'll have a Fitbit or Apple Watch, Samsung Watch, Garmin, some kind of watch or device which tracks your steps and activity. Link that to your Chronometer. You can either link them directly into Chronometer, or you can link them to your native health device such as Apple Health, Samsung Health, Android Health, and that will then indirectly link up with Chronometer. How it works in the program is that once clients have a Chronometer account, they send me an email and ask me to track them. Once I start tracking them, they get upgraded to a Chronometer Gold account, but also I'm able to see all of their bio statistics real time, what they're eating, what they're doing, what quality sleep they're getting, how active they are, how many sessions of resistance training they're doing in a week, what their fasting window is. I can see all of that on the Chronometer app. And there is direct messaging as well. The clients can also message me directly, and I can give them suggestions, whether it is on increasing exercise, reducing calories, or supplements, etc. So all of that can be done on the Chronometer app. So that's the first thing I do with my clients. Set up the app, start tracking properly. So for the first few days, clients have to simply track their calories, activity, sleep, resistance training, etc. And on the second day, we go through troubleshooting, what difficulty they had with perhaps connecting their devices, or if they have questions about how to accurately weigh their food, how to calculate calories, how to use the app. So we go through all of that. And then I coach my clients on resistance training, how to effectively build muscle. We talk about how often they should be doing it. I'd say 3 to 4 times a week. How long the session should be, 45 minutes to 1 hour. How many sets and how many reps you should be doing. Depending on how old you are, how prone you are to injury, it could be anywhere from the 6 to 12 rep range, which is the hypertrophy range, or even 12 to 20 if you're more prone to injury and you want to take less risk. How many sets you should be doing in a week of resistance training? It should be about 9 to 10 sets per muscle group. Which muscle groups you should be targeting, again, depends on your targets. It doesn't really matter so much, you could be doing shoulders and abs if you want broader shoulders and a narrower waist. But of course, you want to do a split, which is easy to manage. And we also talk about how to increase calorie expenditure through other mechanisms, like walking more, or having a walking desk, or having a little pedal, mini elliptical device under your table. That's what I have. As I'm coaching my clients, I'm often pedaling away underneath. These are all ways of increasing your muscle mass and increasing your calorific expenditure, but doing this in a way which is sustainable long term. I'm not asking you to do something like run marathons, which you may do now, but you might not be able to sustain in the future. I certainly don't recommend excessive use of impact cardio, things like running and jogging, because of the effect it can have on your joints. And we know that the effects of aging include accumulation of fat mass, reduction of muscle mass, increasing inflammation, increasing accumulation of toxins, dysbiotic gut microbiome, but also arthritic joints. And so I very much prefer a gentle walking desk, a pedal bike, stationary cycling in itself, resistance training, and swimming, etc., over running or jogging. Those can be problematic for the joints, and in extreme, they can even slow down your metabolism. So they can make you go into a starvation mode. The reason these long distance runners are so lean is because of the number of calories they burn, but the metabolism isn't particularly that fast. So the first class tends to be how to do tracking, and all the information is on my blog. Second is troubleshooting the tracking, and also talking about exercise, how clients need to increase exercise. And if they want to buy a under desk pedal bike or a stationary bike or something like that, I have links for all of these things on my blog. So the first step was tracking accurately your calories and activity. Second step was exercise and resistance training. Third step is now focusing on what you're actually eating. So prioritizing nourishing, nutrient-dense foods over empty, calorie-dense foods. Prioritizing protein, fiber, omega-3, vitamins and minerals, antioxidants and anti-inflammatory agents, and the kind of whole food, plant predominant diet strategy that you would have, including supplements like protein powder, creatine, etc., to maximize muscle gain, maximize your metabolism, maximize your gut microbiome, whether it's prebiotic fibers, fermented foods, supplements, the whole strategy around diet, and optimizing it for what you're trying to achieve, which is reduction in fat mass, increase in muscle mass, reduction in inflammation, optimization of gut microbiome, improvement in insulin sensitivity, reduction in inflammation. We talk about diet in 3 distinct chapters. One is in terms of calorie density and nutrient density. So identifying those foods, and these are mostly whole foods, unprocessed foods, which are nutrient dense, and identifying those which are calorie dense but non-nutrient dense. And so these would typically be processed, industrialized, refined food items. So prioritizing the nutrient dense over the calorie dense. The second bucket or chapter on the topic of diet tends to be anti-inflammatory diet. I've done a whole video on this topic, on what kind of food swaps you need to make your diet less inflammatory for you. Of course, this is outside the topic of any specific allergies or intolerances a person might have. The third big chapter on food is related to your gut microbiome and what kind of strategies would help you optimize your metabolism and your gut microbiome. So those are the three chapters on diet. And I do have specific videos on these topics on my YouTube channel, so I'd urge you to watch those. If I just started discussing those things in detail here, this video would become 5 hours long. Of course, my coaching session is 8 hours of coaching on Zoom. So I can't make an 8-hour YouTube video. I'm fairly sure that will get 0 views because people just don't have that much patience. So number one was tracking effectively calories, activity, sleep, resistance training. Number two was exercise and activity. Number three was diet, and this is divided into calorie density versus nutrient density, gut microbiome diet, anti-inflammatory diet. And number four, we talk about the benefits of fasting, particularly what's called early time restricted feeding, or focusing on eating early and not eating late. And as you will see going forward, this kind of matches really nicely with the calorie strategy. Eventually, when people have calorie targets and calorie goals, what they can simply do is consume their calories, and once they hit a time when they have already now consumed their set quota of calories, let's say they hit that time at 4 p.m. or 6 p.m. or whatever time they hit their calorie target, they can start fasting from there onwards. And of course, on my blog, I also have certain types of 0-calorie hacks and other kinds of food that you can consider for when you're feeling really hungry, whether it's a 0-calorie Gatorade or whether it's green tea or anything on those lines. There are strategies of suppressing your appetite for when you're fasting later in the day. But you will notice that you sleep better, your digestion improves, your acid reflux reduces. There are a lot of benefits of not eating late. It doesn't have to be done every single day of the week. If you can do this 4 to 5 days a week, you'll see different benefits. I, for one, am generally not able to do this on a weekend because I need to go out, meet friends, and then I might skip breakfast instead on those days, which is not ideal, but that is my second option. My first option is always to skip dinner or have an early dinner, because that is what we describe as circadian fasting, or fasting in line with your hormonal signals. Again, I've done extensive videos on this on my YouTube channel. If you want to know about the benefits of when you're most insulin sensitive, how our hormone melatonin and our hormone insulin are interlinked, then do check out those other videos. And finally, we get to the fifth part of the program, and my favorite part of the program, but perhaps the most challenging part of the program, where we really now push the envelope and accelerate that weight loss. And the way we do this is through calorie cycling. So what you need to do is choose 2 to 3 days in the week, and these would have to be non-gym days. So for example, if you're going to gym Monday, Wednesday, Friday and Saturday, then these could be Tuesday, Thursday and Sunday, or it could be just 2 days, Tuesday and Thursday. And you need to dramatically reduce the calories on those days. And the thing is, from day one of the program, we've been tracking your calories. Now you know how to do this. Now you move to the next level. If you're able to restrict your calories to about under 900 calories per day, then you do have to do that 3 days in a week. That could be Tuesday, Thursday and Sunday if your gym days are Monday, Wednesday, Friday and Saturday. That's personally what I do myself when I'm trying to reduce the excessive weight I gained on holiday, for example. There have been multiple studies on this. Professor Roy Taylor, in his landmark diabetes reversal studies from Newcastle University in England. Also, the diabetes reversal studies done in China, Guo et al. And there was one more study, the InterFast study as well, again done in China, where they reversed diabetes using this fasting mimicking diet, which is a very low calorie diet, a few days a week. In all of these studies, they used meal replacements. So they used sachets. But instead of using sachets, I coach my clients on how to make food, natural food, and keep it under 600 calories. So I have these 300 calorie recipes, and I'll make a separate video on this. But typically it would be plant protein powder, and a scoop of that is about 130 calories. On top of that, some Greek yogurt, defrosted frozen fruits from Costco, some chia seeds or pumpkin seeds, some walnuts, and that's typically a 250 to 300 calorie snack. And then you can also have something like a sourdough rye bread with 2 slices of turkey, mustard, and a boiled egg. And that typically be about 250 calories as well. Or you could have full bowl of cruciferous vegetables like cauliflower, broccoli, cabbage. That typically be about 50 calories. You could chop up some cucumbers and tomatoes. That would be typically about 30 calories. That's the kind of food you'll be having on those very low calorie days. Do not expect to eat normal food on those days. Specifically, the things that you cannot have on those days are solid fats like butter, ghee, even liquid fats like oil, and refined sugar snacks like biscuits, cookies, croissants, white bread, white rice. Because you'll just end up with calories with very less nutrition. That wouldn't be a very safe strategy. So you have to really pack in your nutrients into those low calorie days. And I coach my clients on how they can do this using this strategy. Technically, you could actually eat anything you like within your own cultural and habitual kind of parameters, but it has to be nutrient dense, and each meal should be 250 to 300 calories. And if you need to have 3 of those meals to sustain yourself, that would be about 900 calories a day. But you would have to do that then 3 days a week. And this really supercharges your weight loss and disease reversal. Of course, on the other days of the week, and that could be 3 to 4 days, depending on how many days you're doing this fasting mimicking diet for, you prioritize your protein intake, you prioritize your fiber, omega-3, vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and anti-inflammatory agent consumption, and you would eat closer to maintenance, maybe a small deficit. But actually, the priority on those days is to hit your nutrient goals. Simply because in order to reverse metabolic disease, we're trying to achieve a body recomposition. We're trying to prioritize muscle building 3 to 4 days a week, and then we're trying to prioritize significant calorie restriction on the other days. And this is what's called calorie cycling. And that's level 3 of the program. Before signing off, let me give you a view of this beautiful ship. It's called Odyssey of the Seas, operated by the Royal Caribbean. We're on our way back to New York now after having been at the Bahamas. Let me give you a good view of my little jumper I got from the Bahamas as well. So hope you found that video useful. Make sure you like it, share it with your friends. If you'd like more details on the topics we discussed, then there are blogs explaining this in detail. There are Amazon links for items you can buy, whether it's for exercise or for measuring fat mass. All those things are on the blog. If you'd like to join me on the coaching program, then feel free to subscribe. The month that you subscribe, you'll typically be added to the next month group on the program. Take care. If you want to watch more videos, then make sure to watch those. I will put my blog link within the pinned comment. If you have any questions, feel free to ask those in the comment. I always answer these queries personally, and I will see you at the next video.